told you, I have explained about the source and the sink. So when a source or sink is present at the origin, that is 0, 0, then the stream function and velocity potential can be obtained by identifying the velocities first. The velocity, the flow will be entirely in the radial direction. So there will not be any flow in the tangential direction, whether it is source or sink. The only difference between source and sink is that in the case of source, the flow will be outwards, and in the case of sink, the flow will be
Inward.
inwards, that is to the center. So if we take any at any radial distance r, a strip of width dr, or I mean a strip of thickness 1 unit. So the total area of flow will be 2 pi r is the circumference multiplied by 1 is the circumferential area. It is the rectangle. So if you cut the circumferential circle, so the length will be 2 pi r and the height or width, whatever you call, it is 1. So 2 pi r is the area. So the discharge is defined as Q. So Q divided by 2 pi r will give you the radial velocity normal to the area, which is the radial distance. So that is VR. So that is what I have shown here. Okay. And V theta is 0. And using the definitions of VR V theta in terms of phi and psi, we will get this. Phi is equal to Q by 2 pi r log r, and psi is equal to Q by 2 pi theta. Now these are the values, I mean the expressions for phi and psi for the case where the source is located at the origin. Now the next thing we consider is the presence of a source or a sink at any other distance, radial distance. So in the earlier case, we had derived it using the radial or the polar coordinates, cylindrical coordinates. Now we can also derive the same thing using the Cartesian coordinates. Or what we can replace is, you can directly take the expressions which we have already derived for phi and psi. This is expression for phi. And this is the expression for psi. So what we can do is, we can replace r and theta. We can replace r and theta using the Cartesian coordinate system. So, so you can note this. The relationship between the Cartesian coordinates and the cylindrical coordinates are this. So x is equal to r cos theta, y is equal to r sin theta. So if you just find out square root of x square plus y square, so it will be r square. So r will be square root of x square plus y square. Now in our expression for phi, what we have is phi is equal to q by 2 pi log r. So simply replace r by square root of x square plus y square. Similarly, replace theta by tan inverse y by x. So, thus, the expressions for phi and psi in case of a source located at origin are given by phi is equal to m log square root of x square plus y square, or I can bring that half to the front and say that phi is equal to half m log, m is missing here. Here you have to write m. So half m log x square plus y square, and psi is equal to m tan inverse y. So the expressions for velocity is the velocity in x direction, which is denoted by u, and velocity in y direction, which is denoted by v, will be obtained like this. So this is about the case of a source. So simply the case of sink will be, you simply replace m by minus m, wherever it is, whether it is in the expression of phi, or it is in the expression of psi, or it is in the expression for u or b, or vr or v theta. So wherever you have m, simply replace it by minus m. So this is about the sink. Now the next case is that if the sink is not located at the origin, this is the origin, this is the your origin, but it is located somewhere else. So this is your new position of the sink. So source. So how to get? The working out is very simple. What you do is simply find out see, this is a point P I am considering. So this is a point P. Sorry, see, this is the point P. Now for this case, instead of considering the source being here, now the source is here. So what is the expression? The expression is phi is equal to m log r dash. I will call it as r dash. I will consider any point here, and I will say that this distance between this origin, this new origin, and the point under consideration, sorry, if I define this distance as r dash, so the expression for phi at this point, which is located at a distance of r dash from radial distance of r dash from P, and making an angle theta dash with the horizontal axis. So I can use the earlier expressions, phi is equal to m log r and psi is equal to m theta. The only difference is r is now replaced by r dashed and theta is replaced by theta dashed. Now, have you all, those who have done the problems, have you followed this and have written it? Dilip Kumar,
Yes, sir.
have you note this? Hmm? In fact, I wanted some of you to present because only two people have responded and one has copied, I know, because you have submitted the very next day, the same thing which I have written. And Dilip Kumar has also shown me, I mean, I have seen his, and it was matching with the material which I have given. So now let us proceed to the next case. I explained about the vortex, what a vortex is. And also I explained we have to derive the expression for psi and phi for this irrotational vortex. Now, to derive that, we'll start from the fundamentals and write the ratio of force to mass. Now, for the ratio of force to mass is what? It is acceleration, because force is equal to mass into acceleration. So, force divided by mass will give you acceleration. So, in the expression here, which I have shown here, see the numerator is force. See, you can see the figure here. In this figure here, if pressure of P is acting in this direction here on a small element which I have chosen, and a pressure of P plus dP is acting in this direction. So the force in the inward direction, outward direction, is P into dA on this face. And the force here in the inward direction is P plus dP into dA, assuming that there is not much difference between the areas, because this is dr and this is also dr. So dr into 1 will be the area. Dr into 1 will be the area. So dp into dA, whatever is it. So the difference will be P plus dP into dA minus P into dA, which will be dP into dA. This is the force. Now, what is the mass? The mass of the element is equal to gamma by G. Gamma by G. What is gamma by G?
Mass, sir.
Is gamma by G mass?
Density, sir.
It is mass density. Gamma by G is. So you must be very clear. If you say density, it is not correct. You have to specifically say that it is mass density, because density can be mass density or weight density. So therefore, gamma by G is actually
Mass.
rho, mass density. So mass density is defined as mass by volume. So if we multiply the mass density by volume, you will get mass. You will get mass. So what is the volume? Volume is dA is the area of the element and dr is the length. So dA is this area, dA is this area, and dr is this length. So dA into dr is the volume. So therefore the mass is gamma by g dA dr. So if you simplify, you will get this expression. dPg gdP by gamma dr. Now this must be equal to the net force, so, or it must be equal to the centripetal acceleration, which will be acting away from the center. So that is v theta square by r, because the fluid is rotating like this with a velocity v theta. So when the fluid is moving like this, it will have a centripetal acceleration which is given by v theta square by r. So this will give you the expression for dp. So dp by gamma is this. Now what you can do is, you can differentiate this, sorry, you can integrate this. So you take this gamma to the other side, or even like that also you can leave. So if you simply carry out the integration, so deep integral dp by gamma is p by gamma. Integral v theta square by gr dr is v theta square by g.
J into log R.
Ah. But no. So, I'm sorry, you just leave it. Now, before that integration, we have to substitute for, we can take the help of Bernoulli's equation. You see? When I take Bernoulli's equation, P by gamma plus V square by 2G is constant, taking the datum as the plane. So Z is equal to 0. So I can differentiate this with respect to theta, and I can write, because the velocity is in the direction of theta. So dP by gamma will be, this goes to other side, so it will be a minus sign. So I will get a minus sign. Integral differential of d by d theta of v square by 2g, and here v is v theta, because the entire velocity is along the tangential direction. So this will be, in fact, instead of v square, I have to write v theta square. That is why we will integrate, differentiate this with respect to theta. So dP by gamma. Now, if I take this, if I simplify this, what I will get? 2v theta dv theta by g. So this is what we get. This is what we get from this. I am erasing all these things. And once again, we'll explain. So, I'm once again summing up. So, we have written force by mass and we have equated it to the velocity, acceleration, which is v theta square by r, because the only velocity will be in the tangential direction, v theta, this direction. So therefore, so this is how the fluid will be moving, and it is v theta. So dp g by gamma dr is what we get. So dp by gamma is equal to v theta square by gr dr. So this is first equation. Keep it as it is. Now consider the Bernoulli's equation. We know that Bernoulli's equation says that P by gamma plus V square by 2G plus Z is equal to constant, where Z is the datum. So for convenience, we choose the datum as the plane in which we are considering the fluid element. So Z is equal to 0. Now, what I can do is, I can differentiate this expression. So if I differentiate this expression, I will be getting dP by gamma plus d of v square by 2g. Now here v is the velocity and the velocity is in the theta direction. So I have to write here d of v theta square by 2g. So what is d of v theta square by 2g? Because v theta is a function of theta, so d of v theta square by 2g will be 1 by 2g will come out, and d of v theta square. What is d of v theta square? D of v theta square is 2 v theta d 2 v theta d theta, because v theta is a function of theta. So that simplification will give you this expression. dP by gamma is equal to minus v theta. So now you take this and this and this. So what you get therefore is v theta square by gr dr from equation 1 must be equal to this. So v theta square by gr dr plus the right hand side of equation 3 is equal to 0. Now I can integrate this. Before integration, if you simplify, this is v theta square and this is v theta, and this v theta is outside the differentiation. So I can cancel one dt, v theta, and g also will go, leaving you v theta dr plus this r will go here by taking LCM. So it will be r v theta dv theta is equal to 0. So now if I integrate this, okay. Now what is this? V theta dr plus r dv theta. From mathematics, the simple suppose you have, I am writing this here, d of r v theta. Now you expand this. This is nothing but see the left hand side of this equation is nothing but the left hand side of this equation is nothing but d of r v theta. So what we finally got is d of r v theta is 0. So this is what we got. So now, if you integrate it, what is integral d of anything? Integral d of any function is that function itself. So, and what is integral of 0? So, the integral of 0 is constant.
Constant.
And what is integral of this? So, your result is r b theta is equal to constant. R b theta is equal to c. Now, what is VR? VR is 0 anyhow. Because the flow is taking place only in the circular direction. There is no VR, only V theta. So, what we get is, so this is what we get. Hence, R V theta is equal to constant. Now, the way in which we had defined the strength of this discharge Q, here we'll call the strength of the vortex in terms of K, what it is nothing but similar discharge. So the discharge is velocity multiplied by area. Now here the velocity is V theta. Area is 2 pi r into 1. So therefore the discharge is 2 pi r V theta. So that we are calling it as constant. So K. So the strength K of the vortex is defined as K is equal to or simply why how we get this? How we get that 2 pi VC, 2 pi C?
R
Because
into theta equals to C, sir.
this is constant. So therefore, it is 2 pi C. So the strength of the vortex is 2 pi C. Now we proceed for the determination of the expressions for phi and psi. So what is our V theta? This is our expression for V theta. And therefore, what is the expression for earlier given for V theta? V theta is C by R. See, from this, V theta is equal to C divided by R. So, use that, you will get this expression for phi. Now, similarly, you get psi as this. Now, you just compare this with your source. Now, all of you write the expression for phi and psi first for source, and below that you write the expressions for phi and psi for text, and see what you are getting. So you will observe that the pattern resembles that of a source with phi and psi lines interchanged. In the case of a source, the flow is radial. And in the case of vortex, the flow is circular. So therefore, the phi lines will now of source will become the streamlines, and the streamlines of so equipotential lines or simply potential lines for vortex. Now, theoretically speaking, you take this expression for velocity, which we have 1 minute. See, this is the expression we had taken for V theta. So V theta is equal to, I will write here, V theta is equal to C divided by R. Now, suppose R is equal to 0. So when R is equal to 0, what will be V theta?
Undefined.
Infinity.
Infinity.
So is it possible to have an infinite velocity for a fluid? It is practically not possible.
No.
So in reality, what happens is that there will be a central point where the velocity will be 0, see, at a central point, the velocity is 0, and gradually it increases. See, V theta is equal to, there will be some velocity up to some point. Beyond that only, this RV theta is equal to constant comes. So the velocity will be 0 at the center and will increase up to certain extent, and from there it will be this velocity distribution. So what does it mean? It means that even in the case of an rotational vortex, there will be a central core where the flow is rotational. And at the center, the velocity is 0, and gradually it increases. And further, beyond a certain point, the velocity will follow this equation, V theta is equal to C by R. So from that point onwards, the velocity will be decreasing radially. Now, if you want a practical example for this, you take the case of a hurricane or storm surge. When there is a cyclone, what will happen? There will be a rotating mass of a fluid which will have zero velocity at the center and a very high velocity at one point. And again from that point onwards, away from that point, the velocity, the speed of the wind will become 0. So at farther distances, the velocity will be 0. And similarly, at the center, the velocity is 0. So in between, there will be one point where the velocity will be high. So whenever a cyclone passes any particular location, there will be 0 velocity there. It doesn't mean that if the velocity is 0 during a cyclone at a particular point, it doesn't mean that there is the end of the cyclone. But no, what happens is the cyclone will be moving and you will experience a very high wind after some time when the center moves away from your location. So this is also called as calmness before a tempest. So that is how the practical influence of a vortex can be felt. Now, so thus in real cases, a narrow central filament of fluid rotates almost as a solid core, and the velocity v theta increases linearly with radius from a value 0 at the axis to the outer region of the core, where there is a transition from rotational to the irrotational velocity distribution. See, here in the figure, this is the rotational velocity distribution. It is a straight line. V theta is equal to R into C. So, V theta is equal to CR is a linear velocity distribution. V theta is equal to C by R is an exponentially decreasing velocity distribution. So, this is how the velocity will be varying. Have you all followed?
Yes, sir.
I am hearing only one or two voices.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
All of you messages. Receive your message. The case of a doublet. Now, the doublet is a pattern of flow that occurs when a source and a sink, each of numerically equal strengths, Q, approach one another. So consider a situation as shown in this figure. This is the origin, and a source is located at the point A, and a sink is located at the point B, which are equidistant from the center. So the distance between the source and sink is indicated by delta S, right? So when the source approaches the origin and the sink also approaches the origin, what will happen? So that is the pattern of flow. So as the distance between them approaches zero, their strengths increase in such a manner that the product of these two, q by 2 pi delta s, q by 2 pi is the strength of the source or strength of the sink, which is m. So m into delta s, the product of m and delta s tends towards a particular finite value mu. So these two, the source and the sink, are approaching each other in such a way that the product of m and the distance between them is maintained constant, and its value is designated as mu. So the final result is a doublet of strength mu with its axis in the direction of delta s, reckoned positive from sink to source. So this is sink here and this is source here. So in the left direction, it is positive. It is indicated as positive because sink is moving towards the center and the source is also moving towards the center. So this is how we, because what happens is, why we are considering this as positive? Now with respect to this center, so the sink is moving in this direction means it is increasing the flow in this direction. So that is the reason why we consider the distance or the direction from sink to source as positive, right? The pattern is that flow is issuing from a point, moving initially in the positive direction and finally returning to the point. So that means it is like this. So the source is moving in this direction. The sink is moving in this direction. That means the flow is going like this and coming here. So this is the pattern of flow. It will go like this. And it will approach this point. No practical counterpart exists. Strictly speaking, this is only a theoretical pattern of flow. In reality, in practical cases, we don't have any such flow. No flow, a source moving towards the center and a sink moving toward the center, they are not present practically. But the reason why we study about these is that the combination of this type of flow with some other types of flows, standard patterns of flows, will give us some more compound cases of flow patterns. So that is the reason why we theoretically consider the flow pattern, and we will try to obtain the values of phi and psi. No practical counterpart exists, but the unsteady pattern of flow produced by a cylinder. So here I am giving the practical application, which can be solved using the concepts of doublet. Produced by a cylinder moving through an otherwise stationary fluid corresponds to that portion of fluid doublet pattern which lies outside the cylindrical boundary. So, by considering a uniform flow and a doublet, we'll get a flow around a cylinder. So that we will discuss. So the expressions for phi and psi are given here. Phi is equal to mu cos theta by r and psi is equal to minus mu sin theta by r. Now, when we want to derive the expressions for phi and psi, which I have shown in this slide, let us consider this. Now, for this, we require certain mathematics, knowledge of mathematics. Towards the derivation of phi and psi functions for the doublet, the approximation of log 1 plus x, which will be approximately equal to x, will be used. Of course, this is true for the case when x is small, less than 1. So the above approximation follows from the fact that when x is very, very less than 1, what is e to the power of x? The expansion of e to the power of x is 1 plus x square by 2 factorial plus x cube by 3 factorial plus x cube by 4 factorial, like that up to infinity. So when x is very small, x square and higher powers of x square, x, are still very small compared to x and 1. So therefore, all the terms beyond the second term, that is 1 plus x, can be neglected. So e to the power of x can be written as 1 plus x. Now, if we take logarithms on both sides, what is log e to the power of x? Log e to the power of x is 1x. So that is equal to log 1 plus x. So therefore, the approximation which we have got from this gives us this. So we will use this log 1 plus x is equal to x. This is what we are going to use in our present derivation. Now, considering the following 5 functions for source and sink, the function for the doublet can be obtained. Now, what is the expression for phi of source? M log R1. Now, what I do is, looking at this figure, this is your origin, and this is your sink, and this is your source. Now we'll consider a point P, and we'll try to write the expressions for phi and psi for flow corresponding to the point P. So the distance between this point P and the origin is R, and the angle P is making with x-axis is theta. So now we have sink here, we have source here. Now recalling the expressions which we have derived for phi and psi for a source when it is at a position other than the origin. So phi of source is m log R1, where R1 is the distance between the source, location of the source, and the point under consideration. So this is the source and this is the point. So this distance is R1. Similarly, the phi of a sink is given by minus m log the distance between sink and the point under consideration. So this distance is indicated as R2, as you can see in the figure here. So this is phi of sink is minus m log R2. So the flow now is combination of these two. So therefore, the phi of doublet can be written as the phi of source plus phi of sink, which will now become m is common log R1 minus log R2. So what is log R1 minus log R2? It is nothing but log R1 by R2. So phi is equal to m log R1 by R2. Now you look at this figure. This is R1 and this is R2. Now from the triangle we can say this angle, because this distance and distance are same. So this is an isosceles triangle. So this angle and this angle are same. So this side and this side will be same. So therefore, this is delta R. So this is delta R. So I can write R1 is equal to R2 plus delta R. Again, the approximation here is this R2 is same as this distance. Okay. So now dividing by R2, what we get is m log 1 plus delta R by R2. Now we use here this approximation here. So phi is equal to m log 1 plus delta R by R2. So which will be m delta R by R2. Now this is all trigonometry which I have written here. You can look at this figure and understand it. So now the actual flow pattern is the source and sink are moving towards each other. That means the angle delta theta here see this angle delta theta. What will happen when this point and this point come closer? This delta theta becomes 0. So as delta theta approaches 0, m delta s approaches mu. How? This is what we have considered here. As the distance between them approaches 0, their strengths increase in such a way that the product of q by 2 pi s into delta s, that is m delta s, tends towards a particular value mu. So using this definition, this m delta s will become mu, and because delta theta is 0, so cos theta 2 minus delta theta can be replaced by simply cos theta 2 or cos theta, dropping the 2. So the phi function of a doublet is therefore is this. Now, when once you know phi function, you can derive psi function. Or alternatively, what you can do is you can take the psi functions of source and sink, as we have done with the phi functions, you can do with the psi functions. So psi of source is m theta 1 and psi of sink is minus m theta 2. So combining these two, you will get minus m delta n by R2, where delta n is this distance. Because that so this distance is r into angle, this arc distance is equal to r theta. The arc distance is r into theta. So here r is r2 and theta is delta theta. So delta n is equal to, sorry, okay. I can write theta or delta n is equal to r theta. Delta n is r theta. So theta is equal to delta n by r. So this is what we have written here. So this theta 1 minus theta 2 is delta theta, and using that, this is what we got, and this delta n is further replaced so now again recalling, this is nothing but again mu. So therefore, psi of doublet is minus mu sin theta by r. So this is phi of doublet and this is psi of doublet. Is it clear? Okay. Tomorrow we will proceed with the further standard patterns of flow.